On today's Try to Finish Something, I was watching the Adam Savage video where he made the Aztec death whistle from Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I'd like to do one of those myself. I want to mold my own out of clay and cast it and then reproduce it and see how I can do with it. I mean, he gave a lot of detail in his video, so it should be pretty easy to follow. So today I want to do something simple. I have a Star Wars blaster, the Rubies EE3, the blaster that you've seen Boba Fett use, and I'm going to do a full Boba Fett cosplay. So this is not going to be Boba Fett's blaster. I want to make my own version of the EE3 to go in my Star Wars blaster rack case thing, like you've seen in Galaxy's Edge. I'll put a link to my last video up there so that you can check out what I'm talking about. It's that propane cage, and I'm going to have that full of blasters and weapons, and I need more weapons to put in there. So a simple remake of the Rubies blaster. I've already got ideas of the things I want to do, but I'm going to try and keep it simple. I'm going to just repaint this. I'm going to try and just repaint this blaster, and I already know I'm going to do more, but that's what I'm going to do on today's Try to Finish Something.
All right, so here it is, the Rubies terrible green, for whatever reason, Boba EE3 blaster. I'm going to take this apart and try and figure out what my plan is. I know I said I was going to keep this simple, but if I could add a real wood rifle stock to this, I think that would be really cool. I've never done something like that, and you all know I like a challenge. I would like to try and reuse as much of this toy as possible, maybe cut off some of the stock greeblies and reattach those, but I have to get this stupid thing apart and it's just not going as easy as I thought it was going to. I don't know, it must be glued and screwed together. I bought it for $30 on eBay, so who knows, it could have been broken and glued back together, and I guess it doesn't matter if I kind of break it since I'm going to rebuild it. We have the technology. We can make him better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster. Sorry, it's a $6 Million Man reference that no one on Earth will get but me. Moving on, forget I said anything. I'm just going to take this hacksaw blade and just cut through whatever tabs are on the inside. Ooh, you know, it might be cool to replace that grip too, and I can already feel I'm going down the obsessive rabbit hole. I can feel it. All right, now, before I do that, I'm going to use the Dremel and the most dangerous tool in the world, the spinning blade of death. I'm going to move my face back and try and cut out all of these greaves. I will smooth out the edges with a grinding stone on the Dremel and sand all of the parts I'm thinking about reusing. And I have some what I think are redwood boards that were inside that propane tank cage, and I think I'm going to cut those up and use those to make all of my wooden bits. They are 2x6s, and I think the size should work for the stock. It is a stock, right? I think that's what it's called. I'm sure I'll know soon enough after somebody tells me below, yeah, the video was cool, but even my mom knows what that thing is called. I'm just trying to mark out what I want from this and trying to cut things out so they look usable after. Okay, here's the board, and I think the size will work. Let me trace out the basic shape and do a rough cut outside on the bandsaw. And to do some of the larger sanding on the belt sander. And the oscillating sander. I'm just trying to give it that right feel, and I'll do some hand sanding later. And I also make my own rounded sanding sticks. I take those sticker-type sanding pads and stick them onto different size PVC pipes and use them for rounded edges and sanding the inside of holes and things like that. Now to figure out how this is going to attach to that handle part, I think I'm going to use the plastic screw tab on the inside to mark where that is on the wood and then drill that out to help hold the handle to the stock. Now that I know the placement, I'm going to sand away the indent into the wood and slip that handle part in so that it looks like it was meant to be part of this. I know, I'm going to keep it easy, I said. We all knew that wasn't happening, and I've never done this before, so it probably should have gone quicker if I knew what I was doing. You know, I wish I had a good set of tiny chisels, but I guess I'd be afraid I would chunk out too much of this wood. Also going to dig out this part for that C-shaped part of the handle. Okay, that fits. Now the greeblies. Do a bit of sanding and try and line up where those are going to go. I'm not sure I like them just sitting on top of the stock. I might make something out of styrene, but I'll come back to that. All right, the plastic grip is cut off, and I need to use more of that 2x6 to make the new wooden grip. More sanding and shaping to get that to fit into the other side, the plastic side that I will eventually make into the steel part of this frame. Now that it's mostly the right shape, I will attach it from the inside layer to the grip so that there are no visible screws on the wooden side of the grip itself. I did a bit of a crappy job where the plastic meets the grip, but that's okay because I do want to add some panels using that styrene and screws on the EE3, and I will put one there with a few bits of real hardware. All right, time to mask off some of this wood and give it the first base coat of black outside. It's just a simple flat black primer. It's already starting to look like something, and it's only 4 short hours of work. That's sarcasm, by the way. I didn't plan on spending this much time on it, but I am really happy with the way that this is looking. I'm going to use some more styrene strips to make some metal bands. I'm going to heat the styrene and shape it around the handle to make it look more rugged and pieced together. Remember, this is not Boba Fett's EE3. It's my own blaster. I'm also going to use some of the styrene to make a few other panels, like where those greeblies are attached to the stock. I shot the styrene outside with some silver and then misted it with the same black primer to give it a different metal look. I'm also making a small one for around the metal grip above. Now, let's hollow out the end of the barrel and both sides of the scope. Now it's time for my favorite part, paint and weathering. I coated the middle in a copper rub and buff and then weathered the edges with a brown water-based oil. And I'm going to cover most of the gun in a combination of brown and black water-based oils and just randomly dab it on and then wipe it off. I will also mix in some silver rub and buff into my brown and black mixture and then dab that on in random places and wipe that off. What I'm doing is I'm trying to give life back to the black base of the gun, adding scratches and color variances and trying to warm it up. And I'm also going to add some texture too. I'm using Van Oak's Props tip for doing wrought iron by mixing baking soda into the paint and then dabbing that on, and when it dries it adds texture. I'll put a link to his video in the description. It's great for adding texture and rust, which is what I'm doing now. I'm adding a little bit of orange and yellow to a few places to give the illusion of rust. I also dab some random dark spots on the wood so that variation shows after this step, stain. I want the wood to be dark and aged, and I'm going to stain it with an oak stain. I also have a few leftover leather scraps from my Kylo build, and I'm going to cut up some strips to add a few straps for grip on the wooden grip and on the stock as soon as this stain dries. All right, what do you think? I'm calling my Rubies custom EE3 blaster pistol finished. It took a whole lot longer than I planned, but I really hope you liked the video, and subscribe if you haven't, and share it and tell a friend. If you didn't, as always, just keep it to yourself, and we'll see you next time as we try to finish something.